This video is going to go through 4 different types of meals for you to get prepped in the freezer, ready to heat up. These will be super easy to throw right in the microwave or the oven. Get in your mouth as soon as possible because time is of the essence when you're chasing after toddlers and taking care of a newborn. If any of these resonate with you, please tell me in the comments. And if you have a favorite freezer meal, please share because sharing is caring.
Now first up is going to be freezer oatmeal cups. Now I hate making oatmeal in the morning. It is so hard when you have a newborn in one hand, a toddler in the other, and he is hangry. So I like to have these put in the freezer. I can just throw them in the microwave, easy peasy, it's done in the morning. I always like to enlist my toddler when I can because he is the best helper and I love having the kids get involved in cooking. Now you're going to cook your oatmeal however the package instructions tell you, nothing crazy. And for mine, I'm going to add peanut butter here. I love peanut butter as a flavoring. This is a no sugar and no oil peanut butter. This is from Kirkland or Costco. It's a really great brand if you're looking for a no sugar added one. And then I like to add a little bit of protein as well. So we really like the Jocko brand. The Jocko brand doesn't have like all the really crazy added ingredients in there, and they're also USA made. So that's really nice, and we really like to support a brand that prioritizes having ingredients sourced and made in the US. Plus, when we add a little bit of protein, it helps us keep us fuller longer, and we just feel like it's a little bit more of a nutritious meal. Once the oatmeal is cooked and cooled a little bit, you're going to want to put them into muffin tins. I did the really large muffin tins here, but you can do little mini ones, and those are great to put into mason jars and take on the go. Now you're going to want to put them in the freezer for like 1 to 2 hours, more towards 2 so that they firm up a little bit. And you guys, I had my doubts that these would come out really nicely when I first made them, but trust me, you don't need muffin liners or anything like that. They're going to freeze great. You're going to pop them out, throw them into a Ziploc bag, and throw them into your container when you're ready to eat them for about 2 minutes, add a little bit of milk, and they're ready to go. English muffin breakfast sandwiches, and I am making the English muffins from scratch. So you don't have to do this. You can totally buy them from the store. Like if you are running on fumes, like don't push yourself, but this is something that I've really become passionate about, making bread, and I even measured everything for you guys. I hate measuring. Like I really think that a lot of people make making bread complicated or like more complicated than it should be. So I think this is a really great starter thing. If you've never made bread before, English muffins are pretty beginner friendly. I use a sourdough starter, but you can totally do a non-sourdough version, and I'll put a recipe in the description below. But basically it's just going to be flour, water, salt, some milk, and you can totally mix it up without any sort of fancy machines. Like I am totally doing this with a bowl and my hands and a fork, like nothing special. And this came together in like a couple of minutes, and I just put a towel over it, and in the next morning, so I let it sit for 12 hours, I put it out onto my counter, and then I just rolled it out with a rolling pin, and I think you're supposed to just like smush it out with your hands, but I don't know. I like a rolling pin. I think it makes it easier. And I just took a little canning jar lid. You don't need anything fancy as like, like a muffin cutter or like a biscuit cutter or anything like that. I just use a canning jar lid to make the circles for the English muffins, so nothing crazy. Done all of the English muffins, which will make about 10, then you're going to want to put a towel over it, and it will want to sit on the counter for about an hour. And I hate some of these steps sometimes, but you really do want to let them rise. It'll help make a fluffier and just a better English muffin. So once you've waited that amount of time, then you're going to want to take it to a hot skillet, and I use my cast iron here. I love it for doing any sort of bread. I just feel like it doesn't stick as much. And you could also put cornmeal on the bottom of these. I didn't find it necessary personally. And you just want to cook it for like a couple minutes on each side. Once it starts to puff up and brown on one side, then you kind of know it's time to flip it and turn it over. Just make sure that it is cooking all the way through. You can always finish these for a couple minutes in the oven too. Certain recipes will do it differently. And then we're going to want to prep our bacon. Now I am in love with these scissors, by the way. My aunt sent them to me after she watched me struggle to cut some stuff open in a previous video. But I love making my bacon on a sheet pan. Guys, it is so easy if you haven't done it. Like this is how you should be doing it. It is so hands-free. And it's just like, and then your stove isn't all covered with grease. So I throw this in the oven, 350, 10, 15 minutes depending on how crispy you like it. Make sure you flip it halfway through so that each side gets crispy. And if your oven isn't like consistent in heat, make sure you flip the direction of the pan too, because that'll also be helpful. A million eggs. And you guys, you know you're a tired mom if you do a filming segment and you leave your nursing sweater open. And you guys don't worry, I had a shirt on underneath this, but I couldn't believe when I was just like editing this filming, I was like, of course I did that. So about 20 eggs into a bowl and then put a splash of milk in there. It helps make it creamier. Give it a really good mixture. Add some salt and pepper too. And then we're going to take out our pan. This is going to make it so much easier to cook in a sheet pan. And we're going to line it with parchment paper. Recommend not skipping the parchment paper based on my own experience. It is a pain to clean eggs off of a pan if you don't have something underneath it. So just learn from my mistakes. And then this is where, like, if you are a praying person, pray that you don't spill these eggs in your oven or on the way to the oven. And then you just want to cook it at 350 for like 10 to 15 minutes. Just watch it until it's done. Assemble it. So we're just gonna cut open the English muffins. Yes, you could probably use a fork to cut this open. I just like a bread knife. And then we're gonna put a little bit of butter on there. You could put any other sauce that you might be thinking of. I love like a mustard mayo on these too. Cut the eggs into squares. If you want to be really fancy, you can make them into circles. I just think it's less wasteful to use it into squares. Put on some bacon and then put on the top and put some saran wrap on it and throw it in the freezer. Once you want to cook it up, then you can just put it in the fridge overnight, or you can microwave it for a few like minutes and then throw it in the oven. Next up, we're going to make some granola bar cups. Now, I love these because you really can just make them in the flavoring that you want, and you can throw in different add-ins. There's really no like right or wrong with these. Now, I put about 3 cups of oats usually, and again, I love peanut butter and oats. Can you tell? So I put a bunch of peanut butter in here, probably about a half a cup or so, maybe closer to a cup. I put a little of salt. I like a saltier granola bar. I just think it tastes better. I put a little bit of flax seeds in here just for like a little more nutrition, a little bit of chia seeds too. And then I added in a bit of maple syrup as well. And you can also use honey here. I actually prefer honey. It's a little bit of a better binder, but we didn't have any, so we just used what we had. That's fine. And then you're going to want to just take it after you mix it all up and put them again into muffin tins. So you can use any size that you want. We just have these large ones on hand, so that's what I do. And I just put them in there and I mush them down as much as I can just to get them all kind of sticking together. You're going to want to throw it into the freezer, and I just leave them in the freezer and I pop them out when they are nice and frozen, which is usually in like 2 to 3 hours, and I throw them into a Ziploc bag and we take them out and eat them as we want. Pancakes. Now, I'm not going to show you my pancake recipe because honestly, we don't make it the same every time, and everyone kind of has their own favorite pancake recipe. But this is a hack that I think is so crucial and important, especially if your children love pancakes on a weekday. Now, we're going to take any of our cooled pancakes and we're going to put them into parchment paper. Now, you can kind of do half of a parchment paper for each pancake, and we're going to put it into a freezer bag, and we're just going to slide it in there, throw it into the freezer, and when you're ready, they come out so nicely. They don't stick together. You just throw them on a plate. You microwave them for about a minute and a half, or you could pan fry them to warm them again if you're like feeling extra. But these are great. Throw some butter on them, throw some syrup, and you honestly can hardly tell that they are not fresh. So if you have a favorite recipe, drop it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends because this is so helpful for me to grow this channel and keep making awesome videos like this. Thanks, you guys, and I hope you have a great day.